So some exciting new things. I know that since I've been around, a lot of these things have been asked by several customers. So really, really great to be able to deliver these and present them to you. So first, we want to look at the attributes section. So in the past, you could not reference a attribute that is an attribute value that has been calculated. So that means that number 2 here, the batch in position has been calculated and has a value. Cannot reference that value in another formula inside the orientation attribute, okay, or any other attribute for that matter. But with this new functionality, we've been able to enable the ability to change your attributes order in which the first calculation is done, and then that calculation, the value from that calculation can then be referenced into another calculation. So that means that you need to have them in the right order. So here, the substrate attribute in the batch in position formula, the orientation attribute cannot be used because it appears after the batch in position. So these calculations need to be done first. Yes.
Well, just quickly on that one, what we noticed at Precision was we had some existing sort of calculated attributes that we used, and we couldn't save them back down, and that was because of the order. So, like I say, if you've got any previous calculations and you try and resave it and it doesn't let you, you have to reorder the order attribute. So that's just a heads up there.
Yes, thank you. Also, you couldn't reference the same attribute within your formula that is now available. Oh, so I don't know if it's necessary, but we'll take a look. In your product, the substrate attribute is a statement here. It's just switching using the substrate attribute, right? So we can now reference the same attribute within itself. And that works when you need to have the default value be the result of the attribute. That's just one use case that I've seen. Okay, so here we see that the orientation attribute references the substrate. The substrate is a calculated attribute. You can see the formula. So if we move the orientation, it won't let us. It gives us an error message. So you have to have them in the right order, just like Dave was saying there. Okay, we'll move on. The next one, I know that we worked on this very closely with some with a couple of different customers. So this is very exciting here. Now, the number of line items and stock items have been added to the data available to reference in an attribute, which means it's coming in when the order is created, it's calculating these values. So the order data contains line items count, stock items count, total items count, total items quantity, and stock items quantity. And they're able to be used to create a formula. So gave a little example here. If an order contains one postcard of 100 copies, another postcard of 10 copies, a stock envelope with a quantity of 50, then we would have the following. The line items count is 2 because we have 2 postcards. Then we have the stock items count as 1 because only 1 is ordered. Then we have the total quantity of the items, 100 plus 10, 110, and then stock items quantity. Now these can be used in an attribute in a calculation. So this one is a pretty complex formula, but basically what we wanted to do was use the item quantity to and the line item count to batch. So we want to take all single items with a quantity less than 25 and batch them together. Then we needed to take all the orders that had line items of more than 10 in a quantity less than 25 and batch those together. It depends on how you're shipping. It depends on how you're sending files to the press, how your device will handle the files, and just kind of optimizing your production. And I know that this has been a big ask. Also, by batching by line item quantities of 1, you can skip reconcile. So this is another way to identify that. Go on to the next one. The next one is our auto send to device based on a work plan condition. Previously, when you want to auto send to a device, there was a static value that you put in the product, and that was the only device that you could send to unless you manually sent later down the line. So now we have the ability to define which device we send to based on the work plan. Also in this menu, you can define which JDF template is used at the device level. So as always, there are several ways to define the JDF and to define that the device. So I've shared here the priority or the hierarchy of the JDF template to use. So first, if you have one set in the work plan, that will be the one used. If you have one in the device, that'll be the next one, the lookup JDF template or the component production JDF template. In that order, work plan overrides the device, overrides lookup, overrides the component. So here I have a simple work plan, but what we'll do is add a condition. And let's say in this condition, we need to send to a different event based on the production start time for Mondays. We'll go to, let's go to print digital. Okay, so if we go to this event, we can then assign that device. It can be either disabled when the batch closes or with 3 hours before the scheduled production start. Now notice that this is only available on the default device. And here, if we take this away, our JDF template option goes away as well. So it's only available on the default device, and when you change your default device, you can see that your options change as well. Same with this one. So let's say you want to auto send, but based on that work workplan condition, you need to send it to a different device. And that auto send was always sending to the same one. Now you have the ability to send to the different devices automatically. All right, next one. We are now getting JMF feedback from the devices. This is in our work to list. These icons will tell you the status. The red tag is an error message. And notice that's only a 404 message. The light green tag is confirming that the JMF is sent. The violet means that it was aborted, and the dark green, the job was completed on the device. As in addition to this, we can now auto complete the batch and move it to the next event once the job has been printed. So once we get that information, then we automatically complete. Now, this is only available for the first event for now, the print event. Okay. Let me just show you real quick in the device where you can find that toggle. It's also really quick, only available for this JMF submission. Okay, if you change this to JDF, the option goes away. So we have this here. You can turn on the autocomplete the print event once it's done, and you have the JMF. But if we change it to anything else, that option goes away. Okay, now, last but not least, more things in shipping. We always have, we're still continuing to work on improvements with shipping. They keep coming, but these two I think are pretty interesting to share. Pretty big changes just in the way that we can view the shipments. So the walls view is now available under the ship category. Basically, this is just the ability to manage the wall, to see the different statuses. You can see what box an item is in, then the order details, the ship by date, items, the item information. Then it's also color coded by when things are due. It's just another way to view your shipments at the wall level. Then in the shipping list, we now have the items jobs view. So you can view a shipment in the items details. Also in the ships column, we have the more relevant details about the shipped items. So, if your shipment is shipped, you're not going to look for maybe you don't need the ship from now date, So first, let's start here under live. We have the items jobs view. You can see the status, the order ID, item ID, account, SKU. And then once you click on it, oh, it's not what I wanted to show you. Here, we go to the order. Make changes as needed. Here you have your ship by date. It's also color coded by whether it's late or not. You have your quantity, the event that it's in. Reprint reason right here is new, as well as the reprint, whether it's a reprint or not. Your SKU, account, item ID, and you have your same. You can filter by the date range, the ship by date, account, SKU, and products. So another way to view your shipments here. As well, in the shipped section, we now have our tracking number available, the carrier and service, but also the timestamp for when it was shipped. So it was the station ID here, quantity, ship by, and then when it was shipped. All right.